हमारे निदेशक महोदय भी जल्द ही जुड़ेंगे हमारे साथ, तो मैं शुरुआत में आदरणीय निदेशक महोदय, साथ ही हमारे आज के कार्यकारी निदेशक महोदय वो भी जुड़ेंगे, और आज के मुख्य वक्ता डॉक्टर आर के सिंह साहब, हमारे प्रभागाध्यक्ष और संस्थान के सारे प्रभागाध्यक्ष, वैज्ञानिक, प्रतिभागी, पार्टिसिपेंट्स, लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, आप सभी का स्वागत है इस जो वेबिनार सीरीज है, वेबिनार सीरीज खास करके जो टेक्नोलॉजी वेबिनार सीरीज है, उसमें ये तीसरे वेबिनार में संरक्षित कृषि, अगली पीढ़ी की कृषि, यानी कि प्रोटेक्टेड एग्रीकल्चर, द नेक्स्ट जनरेशन एग्रीकल्चर। हमारे बीच आज मौजूद हैं हमारे संस्थान के जाने माने वैज्ञानिक और हमारे पूर्व निदेशक भी रह चुके हैं, डॉक्टर आर के सिंह साहब। इन्हें पहचान, हमें किसी परिचय के मुहताज नहीं है, बहुत सारे बहुत सारे अवार्ड से इन्हें सम्मानित किया गया है। साथ ही सर पीशेम, पहले पीईटी थी, प्लास्टिक इंजीनियरिंग टेक्नोलॉजी, अभी पीशेम है, तो इनके परियोजना समन्वयक भी हैं। सर हम आपका स्वागत करते हैं। और हम प्रोग्राम की फॉर्मल शुरुआत के लिए हम डॉक्टर संदीप दवांगे जी से रिक्वेस्ट करते हैं कि वो आईसीआर सॉन्ग प्ले करके इस प्रोग्राम की फॉर्मल शुरुआत करें। संदीप दवांगे जी।
जय जय कृषि परिषद भारत की, सुखद प्रतीक हरित भारत की। कृषि धन पशुधन मानव जीवन, दुग्ध मत्स्य फल यंत्र सुवर्धन। वैज्ञानिक विधि नव तकनीके, पारिस्थितिकी का संरक्षण। शस्य श्यामला छवि भारत की, जय जय कृषि परिषद भारत की। हिम प्रदेश से सागर तट तक, मरुधरती से पूर्वोत्तर तक। हर पथ पर है मित्र कृषक की, शिक्षा शोध प्रसार सकल तक। आशा स्वावलंबित भारत की, जय जय कृषि परिषद भारत की, जय जय कृषि परिषद भारत की।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद डॉक्टर संदीप दवांगे जी। अब प्रोग्राम को आगे बढ़ाने से पहले हम स्वागत भी करेंगे, हमारे निदेशक महोदय जुड़ चुके हैं। साथ ही हम अपने प्रभागाध्यक्ष से गुजारिश करेंगे कि वो प्रोग्राम की रूपरेखा और उसके बारे में हमारे आज के मुख्य वक्ता के बारे में परिचय दें। सर, डॉक्टर DN यादव सर, हमारे प्रभागाध्यक्ष।
धन्यवाद डॉक्टर विकास। आप सभी को नमस्कार। और सर्वप्रथम मेरी ड्यूटी है कि मैं आज के जो मुख्य वक्ता हैं डॉक्टर आर के सिंह, उनका स्वागत करता हूं। वो प्रेजेंटली प्रोजेक्ट कोऑर्डिनेटर हैं ICAR सिपेट लुधियाना में, और 14 सेंटर हैं इनके अंडर में पूरे कंट्री में। प्रोटेक्टेड एग्रीकल्चर के ऊपर कार्यरत हैं पिछले 5 सालों से, और 2 साल कार्यकारी निदेशक भी रहे ICAR सिपेट लुधियाना के। इन्होंने बहुत जगह अपनी सेवाएं दी हैं। बारापानी में जो अभी हम बात कर रहे थे, वहाँ भी इन्होंने अपनी सेवाएं दी हैं। बहुत सारे अवार्ड्स, इनको NRDC अवार्ड्स भी मिला हुआ है। और प्रोटेक्टेड एग्रीकल्चर के फील्ड में इनके का कोई परिचय के मोहताज नहीं है, सारे इंडस्ट्री के लोग इनको जानते हैं सब। तो आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। मैं स्वागत करता हूं अपने निर्देशक महोदय डॉक्टर नचिकेत कोतवाली वाले जी का, जो आज टूर पर हैं, फिर भी उन्होंने हमारे लिए सर बहुमूल्य समय निकाला। 5 मिनट या 10 मिनट जो भी आप हमें देंगे वो हमारे लिए बहुत ही उत्साहवर्धक है। आपके निर्देशन में ही हम लोग वेबिनार सीरीज ये कर रहे हैं, और 9 वेबिनार सीरीज हमने टोटल प्लान करी है, जिसके सीरीज में ये तीसरी वेबिनार सीरीज है। पहले 2 हो चुकी हैं, जिसका हम लोगों ने, हम सब साक्षी हैं कि हमने कितने उत्साहवर्धन के साथ लोगों ने उसमें पार्टिसिपेट किया था। और साथ ही पैरेलल और भी बहुत सारे प्रोग्राम्स चल रहे हैं हमारे, जो आपके निर्देशन और उत्साहवर्धन की वजह से हम लोग हर महीने लगभग 2 या 3 प्रोग्राम कर रहे हैं। तो हम आपके सर आपका स्वागत करते हैं, और आपके उत्साहवर्धन के लिए आपके आभारी भी हैं। मैं आज कार्यकारी निर्देशक डॉक्टर SK त्यागी जी, जो प्रोजेक्ट कोऑर्डिनेटर, ऑल इंडिया कोऑर्डिनेटर रिसर्च प्रोजेक्ट ऑन पोस्ट हार्वेस्ट इंजीनियरिंग एंड टेक्नोलॉजी, उनका भी स्वागत करता हूँ। मैं अपने सभी हेड्स ऑफ द डिवीजन और जो सीनियर प्रिंसिपल साइंटिस्ट हैं, हमारे कलीग साइंटिस्ट, जितने भी हमारे इंडस्ट्री से लोग जुड़े हुए हैं इसमें, और जो पार्टिसिपेंट्स हैं आज, जो फार्मर्स जुड़े हुए हैं, जो भी इंटरेस्टेड एंटरप्रेन्योर्स हैं जो प्रोटेक्टेड एग्रीकल्चर के फील्ड में जानना चाहते हैं। मैं देख रहा हूं सर अभी तक लगभग 67 लोग ज्वाइन कर चुके हैं। उन सभी का इसमें स्वागत है। ऑल इंडिया कोऑर्डिनेटेड रिसर्च प्रोजेक्ट जो पीएसएम बता रहे थे डॉक्टर विकास, प्लास्टिक इंजीनियरिंग इन एग्रीकल्चर स्ट्रक्चर एंड एनवायरमेंटल मैनेजमेंट, उसके भी जो 14 सेंटर्स है वहां से भी कुछ प्रतिभागी, कुछ सहयोगी हमारे जुड़े हुए हैं। मैं उन सबका स्वागत करता हूं और उनके अपने पीआई लोगों को धन्यवाद भी देता हूं कि उन्होंने उनको परमिट किया उनको ज्वाइन करने के लिए। आप सभी का पुनः स्वागत है इस वेबिनार सीरीज में। हम आशा करते हैं कि हम जान कि जो इस वेबिनार के माध्यम से प्रोटेक्टेड एग्रीकल्चर के बारे में जो भी हम समझेंगे या जानेंगे, उसमें हम उसको कहीं ना कहीं अपने फील्ड में अप्लाई करेंगे, क्योंकि आज के समय में हम जानते हैं कि बहुत सारे युवा जो एजुकेटेड युवा है, चाहे इंजीनियरिंग डिसिप्लिन के हों, चाहे वो साइंस बैकग्राउंड के हों, वो बहुत सारे युवा एग्रीकल्चर के फील्ड में उतर रहे हैं। जैसे हम लोग कहते हैं कि अब एग्रीकल्चर जो है व्हाइट कॉलर जॉब होने जा रही है। तो हमारे देश के प्रधानमंत्री जी का आह्वान भी बहुत ज्यादा एग्रीकल्चर के फील्ड में है। प्रोटेक्टेड एग्रीकल्चर एक प्रकार से इस देश का भविष्य है। तो इस भविष्य की जो खेती है, बेसिकली सर ने कहा भी है कि नेक्स्ट जनरेशन एग्रीकल्चर, तो इस भविष्य की खेती के ऊपर जो भी हम आज सुनेंगे, मैं आप सभी का उसके लिए धन्यवाद भी करता हूं और बहुत बहुत स्वागत करता हूं सर। धन्यवाद। डॉक्टर विकास प्लीज।
धन्यवाद सर। अब हम अपने निदेशक महोदय से गुजारिश करेंगे कि सर हमें अपने शब्दों से हौसलावर्धन करें और आगे के बारे में सर बताएं। सर निदेशक महोदय।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद विकास। मेरे सभी साथी जो सिफेट से आज यहाँ पे ज्वाइन हुए हैं, मेरे साथी डॉक्टर आर.के. सिंह जो ये आज के विषय पर व्याख्यान देंगे, एंड देयर आर मेनी पीपल फ्रॉम साउथ इंडिया आल्सो ज्वाइनिंग, सो आई विल prefer to speak in English so that everybody understands what Dr. Yadav has said earlier. So this is CIFET is celebrating 75 years of independence, Indian independence, and Government of India has marked this program as Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. And to celebrate this 75 years, we are planning different activities. And two of the major activities are webinars on technology and webinars on science or knowledge. So these two things are going on parallel. And so far we have conducted 2 series on technologies. So here in these webinars, we are talking of the technologies where CIFET has taken lead. When I said CIFET, it means CIFET along with the All India Coordinated Research Projects and the CRP, that Consortia Research Platform, which is operating from CIFET. As you might be knowing, that Central Institute of Post-Harvest Engineering and Technology is situated in Ludhiana, is a flagship institute under the aegis of ICAR. And this institute comprises of 2 All India Coordinated Research Projects. One is on post-harvest engineering and technology, and another is on plastic engineering in agriculture structures and environment management. And project coordinator of this particular project is Dr. R.K. Singh. Then we have a consortia research platform on secondary agriculture. So comprising all these 3 schemes, we are connected with the rest of India at different places. We have centers. So whatever technologies these centers have developed, along with the technologies which have been developed at CIFET, we are showcasing. We are showcasing through business meet those technologies which are ready for commercialization, and then we are showcasing addition to the business technologies. We are also showcasing our different endeavors which are going to result into technologies in very soon. So these technology series are addressing these type of activities. Among these, in this series of technologies, we first conducted a webinar by Dr. S.K. Tyagi on specifically on mustard processing or mustard related technologies. Then the second one was on specifically on makhana series, wherein we are going to talk of protected agriculture. Now, mind you, the topic has been very wisely selected. It's not protected cultivation. So Dr. Singh is not going to limit his talk to only cultivation, but different aspects of agriculture where protection can be done. Protection from biotic stresses, protection from abiotic stresses. What are the different tools, machineries, technologies, structures, which are there to help protect the crop during cultivation and even after cultivation from the biotic and abiotic stresses or the elements. So I'm very sure that Dr. Singh, having a great experience in this field and a great command on the subject, will be able to do full justice with the audience and will be able to give the best of webinar that one can listen on this topic. As Dr. Yadav told, I'm at present, I'm on a tour outside. So there are some other engagements also. So I may not be able to continue in this forum, but I'm very sure that this particular webinar will be very successful. And as we can see, it is the participation is now plus 70. And definitely people will join and people will enjoy this presentation by Dr. R.K. Singh. With this, I wish all the best for this presentation. I thank the team which is taking very keen interest, and I encourage them for doing this such a good job under the leadership of Dr. Yadav. And then Dr. Kasana is also there, who is looking after all our activities related to the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, Vikas Kumar and Sandeep Davange, and all the scientists and others, technicals also, who are there for organizing these type of webinars. They all deserve my appreciations. Thank you very much and all the best for this webinar. Over to you, Vikas.
Thank you so much, sir. Now it is my privilege to welcome and listen our today's the chief speaker, Dr. R.K. Singh, sir. Sir, over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Vikas. I am very grateful to our director, Dr. Nachiket Kotwali Wale Sahab, and all other organizers, including Dr. Kasana, Dr. Yadav, Dr. Davange, Dr. Vikas, and all other my beloved colleagues. Here I could see some of my senior colleagues from the centers. They have also joined. Professor P.B.S. Sharma sir has also joined. He is one of the great person in the field of soil and water engineering. Pushpendra Singh Chauhan from Junagadh, he has also joined. I am very grateful to them. And they keep on encouraging us, encouraging me. And I hope the same thing in future also from them. This is a general topic of protected agriculture. I want to share my views on this topic. Why I have selected this topic is because this is the emerging kind of agriculture. Emergence may be a little bit slower in our country, but it is steady. In other countries, it is spreading much faster. So I want to share my slides, then we will continue our talk. Okay. So I have chosen this topic.
अभी तो जाना था लेकिन कहाँ उस तुम्हारे घर तो नहीं जाएंगे।
नहीं, आप लोग कृपया म्यूट कर लें अपने आप को प्लीज, क्योंकि बीच में डिस्टरबेंस ना हो बाकी लोगों को। As you know, this project, particularly AICRP on Plastic Culture Engineering Technology, now it is named as Plastic Engineering Agricultural Technology in Agricultural Structures and Environment Management. Long back, this project was named as Application of Plastic in Engineering. Whatever experience we have gathered from operation of this project at different 14 centers, we will share this today. Okay. Now, first of all, because many of the students are also maybe joining, so I have kept this little bit introductory part. What is protected agriculture? In one line and in a very simple term, I can say it is a technique of producing more with less. Producing more with less resources. This is the aim, objective, or goal of the protected agriculture. Now, in a formal term, we can say it's a technique of growing crop where microclimates surrounding the plants, including in the root zone, is partially or fully controlled or modified as per the requirement of the crop during entire cropping period. Because we know every crop has certain requirement of light, requirement of temperature and humidity. So controlling all those things in favor of the crop, it will encourage the crop or plant to yield more. That is the basic principle behind this one. Also, you have to protect from vagaries of the weather, from the crop. So, protection from vagaries of weather is also one of the objective, and efficient use of inputs and resources, because our motive is to produce more with less. Then why protected agriculture we should adopt? We know we people are now hesitating to go in rain, go in field, in muddy field or in cropped field. So people opting for agriculture, their number are dwindling or declining day by day. So this is some kind of thing we can say that it is a white collar agriculture. You need not to go inside mud, inside rain or sun. You can have better crop in a smaller area in protected condition. This is also a climate smart agriculture. Climate smart, whatever the vagaries of weather is outside your structure, that is not going to affect your crop. You are modifying, you are controlling the microclimate. So in that way, it's a climate smart agriculture. And this is the only way to mitigate the vagaries or adversaries of the climate change. We know the crop or agriculture are the most affected due to the change in climate. Cropping patterns are being changed. Crops are grown in that particular area. Now it is getting changed. So hardest hit agriculture has got due to climate change. And this is the one way protected agriculture to mitigate the vagaries of climate change. Now, we know the land holding per capita or per farming family is decreasing day by day because of increasing population. You cannot have abundance of the land and there is a limitation of expansion of our agricultural land horizontally. So now the only way left is to expand your agriculture vertically. So in that way, it will be helpful. Then attracting youth in agriculture sector, because it is a sophisticated job, good production with good quality. Now youths are being attracted. We have seen many examples nowadays due to coronavirus, COVID-19. Many private sector people who was engaged in those private sector, now unfortunately they had to leave their job. Now many of them has adopted protected agriculture, be it vegetable, be it nursery, or be it flower. And now what newspaper we are getting? We are seeing that they are happy and now getting profit. So this will be an example for others to follow. And there is a vast scope of agripreneurship. Everybody knows better quality of produce because you are controlling the microclimate, then higher productivity 4 to 5 times, and off-season production. What you can cultivate in winter season, you can you can cultivate in warm season, summer season you can cultivate in winter season. In that way, off-seasonality will give you higher price. And then year-round cultivation. If it is open condition, open field, it is limited Rabi and Kharif. Now, if it is in closed environment, you can have round the year production of different crops. And then you are going to use least plant protection chemicals for protection of for control of the insect and pest, because it is a enclosed environment. Now, how to protect agriculture? What are the ways to protect agriculture? There are certain structures, certain processes that allows to control agriculture. Number one, greenhouse, shed net house, mulching, rain shelter, low tunnels, and walk-in tunnels where people can walk freely. That is also a termed as walk-in tunnel. And then farm water harvesting, because water is the key for agriculture. If there is no water, you cannot perform agriculture there. So on-farm water harvesting is the key. If you have the water in your hand, you can plan many agricultural activities. So this is one of the key aspects. And then whatever water you have harvested, utilizing it in a very efficient manner, drip irrigation or fertigation. So these are the ways how you can protect your agriculture. Now we will come one by one to it. You might have heard the term plastic culture. In this context, I want to make you aware about plastic culture word. What is plastic culture? This is combination of two words. Number one, plastic and agriculture. Combining both, a third term has emerged. Now it is globally accepted, plastic culture. It is, what is it? It is the application of plastic material in agriculture for enhancing production and input use efficiency. If your production is not increasing, if your input use efficiency is not increasing, then you cannot term application of plastic culture. If you apply plastic, these two conditions has to be fulfilled, then only you will say it is a plastic culture. Then everybody knows it is a viable, economically viable technology, though it is a high cost technology. Now, if you see the spread of this technology in our nation, then what we find, 6.7 million tons polymer in agriculture we are using. That is just 2% of global production, where the world average is 8%. It means we are 1/4. Many vast scope are there to expand our plastic culture or application of plastic in agriculture, because we are at 2%, whereas the world average is 8%. And now, according to one estimate, 750 billion rupees additional will be generated if you apply plastics in agriculture for enhancing production and input use efficiency. Now, these are the You are seeing some of the structure in this picture. And these are the area where we use plastic culture. Mulching, rain shelter, low tunnel, water harvesting structures, then poly house, and then packaging, drying. We are using polytunnel dryer, and then in fishery sector also we are using. So these are the broad area where possible intervention of plastic can be made, or it has been made with proven result. Now, in spite of all those good things, why we are not able to adopt, or why it is not expanding with the pace we intend? High capital cost. Okay. Structure, if you are going to make, it will give a high cost. It will need a high cost. But to mitigate this one, our central government, our state government, they are giving subsidy on the structure varying from 50% to 75%. So only thing is that you have to acquire the knowledge of this type of technique and how to construct the structure. Lack of the technical knowledge. Lack of the technical knowledge means whatever agriculture you are performing outside or in open condition, the package of practice will be entirely different in the enclosed condition. It means in what way it is different? Say you have to choose variety. The variety which is performing outside may not be, or definitely it will not perform inside, or so suitable variety in protected condition that you have to select specifically. And controlled pollination that is needed for high production. And self-pollinated crop has to be there. Indeterminate crop has to be there so that it grow on and give you fruit. So these are the technical knowledge we are lacking, and we have to spread this among the farmers. And lack of awareness about the subsidies. If you go deep inside our rural areas, then news or information about the subsidies are not there. You have to tell them, or this is the Department of Agriculture responsibility, state government. They have to, through videos, they have to tell them, now you have to take this kind of subsidy for construction of structure, pond, mulching, that kind of things. So this has to be spread very fast. And it is a common perception that this system is not economical, but it is not so. There are two types of technology. One is low cost, low profit technology. Another is high cost, high profit technology. And this technology comes under category second. And normally we say that it is a pollutants, and we have to learn a lot how to dispose plastics. That is a clear thing, and that is the truth. We have to accept it. If you know we are using plastic in agriculture, but we do not know how to dispose it. That's why it is giving a bad name to this. In spite, it is giving more yield. You see the regional diversity in consumption or application of plastic in Western region. Western India, it is 47%. Northern India, 23%. Southern India, 21%, and Eastern India, 9%. This I want to emphasize that if you go by the prosperity or prosperity index of the person, region wise, Eastern India comes at the lowest point. Though it has tremendous natural resources, good rainfall, high rainfall, good quality of soil, moderate climate. So all favorable condition of agriculture are existing in Eastern India, but why it is at the lower ladder, at the lower step of the ladder in prosperity, because you have to use judiciously your resources. You have to manage your resources nicely. In Western India, may not be water resources as much as we are having in Eastern India, may not be having the quality of soil which we are having in Eastern India, but because of the use of the new technology, because of the use of the high-tech protected agriculture technology, they are higher in prosperity index. Now you see, this is a clear picture of land holding in our country. The total operational land holdings are, this is the number, 138.35 million. Average size of operational land holding is how much? You see, 1 hectare only. And small and marginal farmers constitute 85%. Small farmers means 1 to 2 hectare land holding, marginal less than 1 hectare. And the semi, medium and medium 14.3%. And the large holdings is only 0.7, less than 1%. So if this is the scenario of land holding, you have to sustain family of 5 persons, you have the only 1 hectare land, you cannot feed properly your children or 5 members of family with traditional cultivation practices. You have to think differently, you have to adopt different technology, then you will be having your income doubled or tripled in the same area. Now, polyhouse, shed net, rain shelter, mulching, and the anti-hail net, these are the structures. These are the protective structures for our crops. Now you see greenhouse. One thing I want to clear, we are often using the word polyhouse. There is no such word of polyhouse. The word is greenhouse, because we are using plastic sheet for constructing our greenhouse. That's why we are terming it as a polyhouse, but standard term is greenhouse. Greenhouse effect you are going to get inside the structure. A greenhouse is a ICU for plant. It is a ICU for plant, you can say. Just like newly born baby or a sick person, to take extra care, they are shifted to ICU. So to take extra care for plants, we have to have a greenhouse. A greenhouse is a covered structure which protects plants from vagaries of weather and environment, wind, precipitation, excess solar radiation, temperature extremes, and considerable attack of insect and pest. What we have talked earlier also. This is a definition, we can say. Now, for how the plants are performing, if they are producing more food from carbon dioxide, more production you will be getting. And now this is the visible range. This is the visible range. 4 into 10 to the power minus 7 to 8 into 10 to the power minus 7 meter. This is the visible light you are providing more. This is the photosynthetic active radiations. PAR. In short, we can say PAR. So you are getting higher visible radiation and other ultraviolet, infrared, it is filtered away. So this is the one reason why production is more inside greenhouse. Now you have to have a proper design. It is not that anything you make a structure and then cover it the plastic, it will do. No. You have to make right balance of CO2 and O2 inside structure, because O2 is released by the plant and CO2 is consumed by the plant for photosynthesis. So during the process, CO2 concentration is decreased and O2 concentration is increased in the structure. To make the right balance, you have to have proper ventilation, or you have to open it periodically so that CO2 or fresh air from environment comes inside and the balance is maintained. Though there are other ways to maintain the balance of the CO2 and O2, but these are the artificial methods. And we do not at present in habit of doing this thing in our country. We are using our resources and giving aeration periodically to maintain the balance. Now, to maintain all those things, you have to have a proper design. So proper design will give you what should be the height, what should be the length, what should be the width, and then what should be the ventilation. If the ventilation is, and where the location of the ventilation. So just a minute. Okay. So considering all those things, BIS has formulated a standard, and considering those standards, we have our design polyhouse or greenhouse, which is naturally ventilated for arid and semi-arid region. And our target was that it should withstand 180 km/h wind speed. And now these designs are successful. What we have constructed 5 years back, still it is there. And the life of this material, covering material, we call it cladding material. It is 4 years. Normally, after 4 years, we have to change it. Frame will be intact, will remain intact, because transparency will be reduced over the period of time. So that will affect our input radiation in the structure. And the cost of this type of polyhouse construction will come around 2,000 rupees per square meter of covered area. Now, these are what are the crops? That is a common thing which comes in our mind. What are the crops we can go inside structure, greenhouse? Number 1, cucumber. Number 2, tomato. Then capsicum, all colored capsicum, yellow, pink, red, and green. Then leafy vegetables, palak, then lettuce, then broccoli, and the cabbage also can be grown successfully inside the structure. So these are the few crops which can be grown inside the structure. Normally these things should be grown. What we have seen, now we are moving one step further. There are so many soil-borne diseases, particularly nematodes. Once your soil is infested with nematodes, nobody can help you until and unless you replace the soil. So to counter this nematode problem, we have switched over to soil-less cultivation. It means soil-less means we are not using soil, but root media we are giving. Root media has to be there, and that is in form of coco pit. It is coming in form of slabs available in the market. You bring it, then stack in line, and you make a hole at different places to sow the seeds or seedlings. And that is to be supported by fertigation and drip irrigation system. Because once you are using artificial media in form of slabs, you cannot give other type of irrigation except drip irrigation. And that will be the benefit to crop to maintain right balance of oxygen, moisture, and other gases in the root zone. Average yield of cucumber, what we have seen, it is a 4.6 kg per plant compared to 1.3 kg per plant in open condition. So 3 to 4 times yield we are getting, and the same thing is happening in case of tomato also. Tomato 8 kg per plant we are getting, in outside we are getting 3.6. If you give better management practices also, then further increase is also possible. And what is the advantage of fertigation is whatever fertilized water is recycling in the root media, at the end it is being collected in a particular tank, and then again, because that water is also containing some fertilizer which is unused by the plant. So if you again recycle that leachate, at least 15 to 20% fertilizer you are going to save. So you are using less water, you are using less fertilizer, you are not using soil, and you are getting 3 to 4 times higher yield. Now you see, this is the common tomato. This is indeterminate variety. It will go on in fruiting, and height will go on increasing. So normal yield inside, if we are going to get 150 to 200 ton per hectare, whereas in outside we are having only 50, 60 ton per hectare, like that. Now cucumber, drip irrigation is there, protected agriculture is there, then these stems, the threads are there, because you have to provide support so that plant can climb straight. So management practices or variety need to be shared with the farmers along with the design of structures. Once you give structure only, no, don't leave. You give the proper from construction of structure to harvesting of the crop, then only project will be successful or farmers will be getting good price of their labor and inputs. And the color capsicum, 80 to 100 quintal per 10,000 per 1,000. It means 80 to 100 ton per hectare we are going to get. So okay, this is also one type of color capsicum. Now DH structure can also be utilized for production of seedlings. Good quality of nursery seedling can be produced inside the structure, be it flower nursery, be it vegetable nursery, very good quality, because you are controlling the environment and it is an insect and disease free material you are producing. So there is a lot of scope to go for this kind of entrepreneurship in this area, just to produce nursery seedlings and sell it. So according to our estimates, 6 to 7 lakh seedlings can be produced in 500 square meter in a year. You got 3-4 times you are going to produce nursery of different crops. Now, if you come to the application parts in the farmer's field, we have seen normally 500 to 600 square meter. It should be not less than that area of the poly house, and 1,20,000 per year from 500 square meter can be earned easily by cultivating different crops like tomato, capsicum, or cucumber. So if you are getting 500 rupee, 500 from 500 square meter, 1 lakh around, and you are engaging your farm family laborers, they are getting employment. So this is one kind of benefits. Another kind of tangible and intangible, both types of benefits you are going to get. And particularly these kind of technology are being popular in hilly areas, in Uttarakhand, in Himachal Pradesh, in Jammu Kashmir, where adverse weathers are very frequent, in northeastern region, there it is being popular. Now, in semi-arid and arid zone, now we are supplementing with shade net, because we want to control the temperature as far as possible through naturally ventilation or shading of the structure. If all these things is not sufficient, then you have to switch over to fan and pad cooling, and that will require energy. So our main aim is to control the environment through shading, through ventilation, through fogging. If these things are not sufficient, then fan pad cooling system we have to install in arid and semi-arid region. Why it is popular in hilly areas? Because for cooling, energy requirement is not there. There we need warming up inside the structure, and that is the natural phenomena. So cooling is not required, but in arid and semi-arid region, you need cooling, and their energy is required, or money is involved. So expense or input cost or production cost is higher in semi-arid and arid region than our hilly region. Now, this is a very simple intervention, particularly in apple orchard. This is the anti-hail net, because hail are very frequent in Himachal, in Jammu Kashmir, and once it is there during your fruiting period, then your value of the crop is reduced drastically. So anti-hail net structure is to be installed, and this cost of structure is coming out to 220 per meter square, and 50 to 60% saving in production from hail you are going to get. What we have seen, once hail is taking place or occurring, then 50% fruits are damaged or they are hit by the hail, and then it starts decaying and it will lose its market value, 50 to 60%. But when you are installing the structure over, these are the structure material you are going to get from the market. Now it is very common, and on high value crops you have to install it to protect your crop, and in 1 year entire cost of the structure you can recover, because you are saving your 60% fruit from hail. Now another modification of this one, individual plant or tree can also be covered. Earlier we have seen in a line, you are covering one line, Second picture is that you are covering the entire field in 2 or 3 parts. And then the third design is covering the individual tree. So as per your requirement, as per your planting, if it is a high density plantation, you can go for covering the entire field like that. If it is a discrete plantation, you can think of individual protection. Now, another way, another protected structure is our low tunnels. It is applicable for all crops, but I have given here the example of cumin. Normally in Gujarat and Rajasthan, cumin is the cash crop. And during winter season, fog is there, frost is there, and these are affecting the crop badly. If you have protection of the crop in form of low tunnels, in night you put, in daytime you take it out as per requirement, then what benefit you are going to get? Crop duration, early maturity. Crop duration is only 45 to 50 days against 60 to 75 days in open condition. And minimum insect pest, because it is a covered. Water saving is also 37% because it is covered and the evapotranspiration is reduced. And then better quality you are getting, and high in yield, how much? 67% more yield you are getting. In open condition, it was 758 kg per hectare. In the when you are using structure, it is 1267 kg per hectare. Tremendous increase in the yield you are seeing. So this is the example of cumin I have given. This is true for potato, tomato also you can use. This is for lettuce also you can use. Strawberry you can use. So high value crops you can use. This is also one of the good intervention, because in arid and semi-arid region, because of high sun scarcity, your fruit is damaged and the sun burn is taking place. And once sunburn is taking place, your market value of the fruit is reduced. But once you are providing shade in form of shade net, then you are getting good quality fruit. So this is a simple intervention. And once your cropping period is over, fruiting period is over, you can take it out, fold it and keep it for next season. So at least 3-4 seasons it will be there. So what we have seen, black shade net 50%, it will reduce 1 to 2% fruits were affected by sunburn compared to the control 40 to 45%, you see. And when you are using black net and then combine in combination with the fogger, then almost nil sunburn is there. So as per your convenience, you can install fogger also, or only black shade net will do. So good quality harvest you are going to get. Okay, the quality also maintained. Now another thing is rain shelter. You might have observed that in rainy season, particularly in hilly areas where wet spell is 10 days, 15 days, continuously it is raining or overcast weather is there. So in that way, your tender crops, say tomato, leafy vegetables, you are going to lose it because 2-3 days continuous rain will spoil the crop. So in that way, you need not to have the full protection, because in Kharif season, in the summer season, you are going to get optimum temperature. So you have to just cover it from the top, not from the side. and that structure is called rain shelter. You are providing shelter. एक मिनट, अरे मोहंती साहब थोड़ा बैठो प्लीज, मुझे आधा घंटा लगेगा टाइम थोड़ा सा, प्लीज बैठो आप आराम से, या और किसी से मिलना हो तो मिल लो. ओके, नहीं आ जाइए. So you are providing shelter for the crop from rain, so that will give a good yield for the crop. So this is the example I have set in the case of strawberry. And there is an additional benefit of this rain shelter is also there, because when it was open, the bird bite was very high. But once it is closed from top, then bird bite reduced drastically. Now another intervention may be mulching. Mulching is also a protected agriculture, because you are protecting in the root zone. You are providing favorable environment in the root zone. There are two environments needed. One in the root medium below the soil, another one above the soil surrounding the plant. In case of greenhouse, you are modifying both the environment in the root zone as well as in the above the soil around the plant. But in case of mulching, you are modifying or you are improving microclimate of root zone. You might be seeing mulching of two types. One is all black, both the side. Another is one side silver, another side black. Why one side silver? Why one side black? Because in hot and humid arid region, Punjab, Rajasthan, Haryana, like this, northern India, you are getting more radiations than required. So if it is silver color, radiation will be reflected back, most of the radiation, and the required amount only that will be absorbed, and that will go inside the soil. So while laying the plastic mulch, always keep silver on top and then black beneath. And in where moderate climate is there, only black kind of mulching will do. No need to have silver on black. Okay. So, but remember one thing, whenever you are using mulching, fertigation unit you have to install, because how you will irrigate it? So mulching has to come with the combination of fertigation or drip irrigation. Now, this is the example of watermelon. The maximum crop yield 40 ton per hectare in case of silver black plastic mulch, and the water use efficiency has also increased because of drip irrigation and mulching. And then you can see the minimum thickness should be 20 micron. So yield at least 25 to 30% increase you are going to get from this one. And these are the mulch. If it is 20 and above, you can retrieve it properly, then it can be used for next season also. So these are the some of the example of mulching on farmer's scale or field scale. So this is the mulching in case of strawberry. This is the mulching in case of groundnut. This is the mulching in case of tomato. And this is the field level mulching in case of watermelon. So it is not that it is in the textbook only. Now people are using it. They are not waiting for the subsidy from the government. Now they have realized, particularly in the northern and western part of our country, and they are using it. Now, this is the for academic purpose I have shown. There are different type of mulches, different color, and then insect and pest will be reflected, or they will be attracted, or they will be repelled. So, but only thing common is the silver and black and black. Two kinds of mulching are available, and red and other color, yellow, these are for the flower. These are for the flower, because they want more environment, better environment, or for the color development. But for the fruits and vegetables, only two kind of mulching, silver and black you can use. Now another aspect is water resources. Water resources, total water utilized is 693 million cubic meter, whereas total utilizable water is 1123. Okay, and out of 693, 450 billion cubic meter surface water and 243 billion cubic meter groundwater. Now, day by day, we are going to lose the groundwater. It is going drastically down and down. And you know, there is a relation, direct relation with irrigation and production. When irrigated area is more, production will be more. In 1950, we were having only 22 million hectare area under irrigation, and production was 55 million ton of food grains. Now the scenario has changed. We are nearing to 300 million ton per hectare, 300 million ton per year. Okay. Water scenario. Per capita, per person, if availability per year is 700, then 1,700, we will call it as a water stress situation. And when availability of water per year per person is 1,000, then it is a water scarce condition. In same, this is our country, it's a uniqueness. At the same time, there is a flood in one area, there is a drought in other areas. Somewhere water serves as a creator, somewhere water is acting as a destroyer. So this is the climate condition or our geography location of our country. And in that way, to mitigate all those things, river linking is most important thing. Where flood is there, you can divert those excess water to the other areas where scarcity is there. So one day in future, this will become a reality, and then we will have more progress in our agriculture, because we are losing our crop because of drought only, because of flood also. So once river linking projects is implemented, maybe after 20 years, something like that, then we will be more comfortable with our agriculture and less chance of losing our crop. Then irrigation scenario, we have the ultimate irrigation potential in our country is 140 million hectare, and net sown area is 142, little less than, little higher than the UIP. And irrigation potential created, how much we have created? 106 million. And irrigation potential utilized only 84-85 million hectare. So whatever we have created, we have also not able to utilize, because there is no network of canal, primary and secondary and tertiary canal. and net irrigated area is net irrigated and is 6465, because if it is irrigated 2 times, that's why we are getting irrigation, total irrigation area around 80-88%. Okay. Now these are the water. Okay. Where I want to know, because I have given you the scenario of water scarcity or water availability. So net irrigated area 87, micro irrigated area is only 7.8 million. Now it is nearly 8-9 million hectare. And protected and potential for micro irrigation is 69.5, around 17 million hectare. We are only on 1/3 or 1/8. And water availability versus water management, what I have said earlier, it is not that how much water you are having. It is important that whatever water you are having, how efficiently you are managing. And our western and southern part has shown it. If you manage your scarce resources judiciously, you will get higher profit or good production in agriculture. And to take more production from water, we have to use multiple use. For the, if you have stored the water, make it fisheries, use it for agriculture or for some aquaponics. So multiple use of water needs to be done to increase our productivity. Now, what I have told you, 69.5% is the potential area, and only 7.7 million hectare we are having in place under micro irrigation. So only 1/9 area we have been able to cover till 2015. Now, though the pace is increasing, now what is the way out? You have to create your water resources in the farm. You don't need to depend on the canal, which is erratic in giving you water supply. In many parts, canal are there to divert flood water. It is not for irrigation. In Punjab, Haryana, fortunately, it is for irrigation. But in our central UP and MP, they are there for primary job is to divert the excess flood water. When the flood is there, then they will open the door, and when you are getting rain, the same time water is also flowing in your canal. So to avoid all those things, you have to make your on-farm water resource so that you can use when it is required. So on-farm water, just like I have told you, greenhouse is like ICU, and on-farm water resources is like UPS, uninterrupted power supply, uninterrupted water supply. When you are getting canal water, use it. Not getting, use the water from the pond. And if you are creating pond, constructing pond, then if you are lining it with the plastic, now it is coming, a specialized plastic is coming. For this is called pond liner. So use it because it is much cheaper than your RCC pond. In case of RCC pond, you are having say 300-400 rupees per cubic meter of water stored cost, and in case of LDP line pond, it is 186 to 100 rupees per meter cube. And life is also longer than RCC. RCC may crack because of settlement of the soil mass in due course, particularly in undulating and hilly areas, where if it is settling also, if you have lined with the plastic sheet, then it will not crack. And the procedure we have laid down how to make the lining of the pond. Now it is being adopted by the farmers, and many state governments, they are also giving subsidy on plastic lined pond. And the people in hill area, in plain area, normally it is recommended that when you have crop cultivation in protected cultivation greenhouse, then side by side you have to have pond also, because if it is stored there, anytime you can use water, your crop will not feel water stress. So when you are using harvested water, you are spending so much money in pond, in lining up the pond, then you have to use this water judiciously and efficiently. And for this purpose, drip irrigation is the only method that we should adopt. Drip irrigation can be installed in vegetables, in flowers, in plantation crops. In all area you can have. Now the experiments are going on in case of wheat also, in case of paddy also, because we want saturation. Flooding in the paddy we are giving just to reduce the weed control, just to reduce weed. So point is that to saturate the soil. How you will saturate? Through drip irrigation, through flood irrigation. I want to highlight it. The efficiency of flood irrigation or canal irrigation is 37% only. And efficiency of drip irrigation is 90%. So in the same quantity of water, 2.5 times more area you can cover. So whatever unirrigated area is there in our country, that can be brought under irrigation through adoption of micro irrigation. Now you see, nowadays in banana is one of the high water requirement crop. Then coconut, potato, then sugarcane. Sugarcane is also requiring very high amount of water. But we have seen, and people are using also, started using drip irrigation. The one of the advantage of drip irrigation, why yield is increased? Why yield in drip irrigation is increased? You are providing water maybe through flood irrigation, maybe drip irrigation through drip irrigation, but why increase in yield? Because when you are providing water in through flood irrigation, all pores of the soils are closed by are filled with the water. There is no air at all in the root zone. Whereas for better growth of the plant, air and moisture both has to be there in root zone. But when you are providing drip irrigation, right balance of the air and moisture is there, and that's why yield is more. In case of potato, we have seen 20-25% more yield we are getting. Number one. Number two, 40% more grade 1, grade A potato we are getting, which is sold at premium prices. So quality and quantity both we are getting. So this is a common thing we are coming in mind. If you are constructing a pond, lining a pond, using drip irrigation, purchasing drip irrigation, and then cultivating crop, whether it is economically viable or not. So we have experimented and we have seen that if it is open rain-fed condition only. We have one thing I want to point out. Around 55% area, cultivated area, is our rain-fed, and 45% is irrigated. But production 60% we are getting from irrigated area, 45%, and only 40% we are getting from the rain-fed of 55% area. So when we are getting more yield, in that way we have laid one experiment, and we have seen that open rain condition net return per hectare is around 39,000. Open, then manual irrigated 68%, when you are giving irrigation is increasing. Then with micro irrigation 99,000. When protected manual irrigated, protected condition, and then irrigating with the micro irrigation 1,70,000, and protected with micro irrigation 187. Now from the same piece of land, from 39,000 you are increasing your income to 1,87,000. Many people will say that this is the theoretical. Okay, let it be theoretical. You may not be getting 187, but at least you will be getting 125, or even 1 lakh. This is 2.5 times an open rain-fed condition. So in 1 year you are going to recover the cost of your whatever investment you have made in the pot. Now at another location, the same thing we have also. This is the data of another location. So roof water harvesting, simply roof water harvesting, recycling with rainwater harvesting, 500 square meter area, and the net return in 14,000. And the farmer practice, net return in only 4,000. Just by harvesting roof water and recycling into your field from your house rooftop. And then if you are having integrated farming, means fisheries, duckery, crop, poultry, all those things you are having, or some of the component you are having, then you are getting 30,000 by integrating fisheries into the harvested water. So when you are investing more, you are getting more. And governments are giving subsidy. We have to utilize the government help and for our benefit. There is no reason incurring loss if you are having pond and protected agriculture. This is at the third location we have seen. Now you see this fellow. No water was there. He was so curious. Now beautiful fencing he has made, because water is precious for him. And now he is operating sprinkler irrigation using this one on the terrace land. So even in the water scarce time, if you can provide 1 or 2 supplemental irrigation, tremendous increase in the yield you are going to get. And we have seen that now internal rate of return, VC ratio is 67% and 1.5% respectively, indicating favorable for investment on plastic line pond, plastic line water harvesting tank. It means these are the increase: 9.3%, 15%, and 48% increase in case of radish, cucumber. So in the different crop, you are going to get different increase in yield. Now, these are the common thing. These are the common because of the micro irrigation, drip irrigation. You are having saving this much water, and increase in yield is this much. So from 20% to 65% increase your yield you are getting, and water saving from 30% to 60% water saving. तो और क्या चाहिए? Yield is there and water saving is there. So it means I will restrict my talk to this one only, and then as our director told to include other thing, but I had not included, that can be have in post-harvest management, say shrink wrap packaging or in the storage. So these are also scope for plastic application, but I confine my talk to the production technology only, and when I get next opportunity, I will take my presentation part 2 on post-production technology, application of plastic in post-production and post-harvest handling. So whatever we have seen experimented with our 14 centers, this is the plastic culture technology has been proved effective for enhancing farmers' income and providing good agribusiness opportunity. So that has been proved. 4 to 5 times yields more you are going to get, and more price you are getting for the same product because your quality is better. You are getting produce in off season also, and awareness of the plastic culture technology is needed, absolutely needed, because at least through our KVK, 1 or 2 plastic houses can be installed in the KVK, and whenever farmers are visiting, they will see the good crop inside. Then they will be motivated, and all information related to the availability of the plastic material, quality of the plastic material, subsidies, that can be given to KVK, and that can take the responsibility to spread the technology among the farmers. Another thing is that strengthening the network for after sale service, because once your contractor is coming and constructing the poly house, when your cladding material is torn or it is less transparency, then you have to replace it from where you will get, how to get, what quality you have to get, so that you have to see. So after sale service, that is also required. Some clamp is there, some thread is there, shed net material is there. So whatever requirement is there, after construction, the person has to visit 2 or 3 times further, or it should be easily approachable to the farmers in case of any problem. And the farm level water harvesting and micro irrigation is essential. There is a saying, more crop per drop. Okay. Another one is catch the rain where it falls. Catch the rain where it falls. खेत का पानी खेत में और खेत की मिट्टी खेत में, इसको दूसरे जगह जाने नहीं देना है. So on farm water harvesting, it will give you a strength to diversify your crop. When you are taking only one crop, depending upon the rain, then you can take at least 2 crops. So it means your income is going to double. So these are the few interventions. Slowly, slowly it is progressing, but it is progressing. And now, as our government is giving emphasis on on-farm water, Pradhan Mantri Sichai, Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sichai Yojana, PMKSY. So under this scheme, water harvesting, micro irrigation, all components are there. So only thing is that people have to know from where to get subsidy, what kind of subsidy, what quality, or from where you can get materials for pond and other things. So I will close my talk here, And I hope many of the doubts or many new things I have been able to give to you. If you have any doubt in your mind, kindly ask me, or you can contact later on also. Today also you can contact if you have any doubt in your mind. So thank you very much. One and all, we are here to serve the farming community, conserve more and grow more. Grow more, produce more with less. That is the slogan. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for such an exhaustive lecture and showing the things with the pictorially and discussing each and every points, including the core concept of protected agriculture, that is says that getting more with less. And so, sir, you have rightly set the tone for today's webinar, and clearly mentioned that this protected agriculture is dedicated for getting more with less of the resources. Thank you so much, sir. Now, sir, for sir, a few of the questions, one or two questions are there in the chat box. So if you permit, sir, I will just put before you. One is whether, sir, layer cultivation have any opportunity in India? Is it possible in India? One question Rishikesh Ray ji has asked, sir.
क्या बोलो तो जरा?
वो सर लेयर कल्टीवेशन का अपॉर्चुनिटी है क्या इंडिया में, या पॉसिबल है क्या?
नहीं, वर्टिकल कल्टीवेशन तो हमको करना ही है. वी हैव टू गो फॉर वर्टिकल. सर नमस्कार, तिवारी सर को मेरा प्रणाम सर. तो बहुत अच्छा लगा सर, आप जो है दिख रहे हैं, ज्वाइन किए हैं. तो जैसा मैंने पहले भी कहा था कि हॉर्टिकल्चर हॉरिजॉन्टल एक्सपेंशन तो अब संभव नहीं है ज्यादा. जो 142 मिलियन हेक्टेयर हमारा कल्टीवेटेड एरिया है, अब हमको वर्टिकल एक्सपेंशन ही करना है, मतलब वर्टिकल फार्मिंग. सो मे बी व्हाट यू आर सेइंग द लेयर्ड फार्मिंग, आई होप इट इज सेम.
सो इट इज पॉसिबल इन इंडिया.
हाँ, अभी आप देखें जैसे पॉली हाउस के अंदर में स्टेप्स बना के उन्होंने करते हैं ना, तो at different steps they are doing, so grass area is increased. Okay.
Thank you, sir. One another question is pertaining to, like, simply they have written the mulching in groundnut. I guess maybe the scopes he must be knowing. Dr. Sivakumar sir has asked what about the maybe the mulching in groundnut. How do you see that, sir?
Mulching in groundnut, actually this mulching is different from others because spikes are there, they has to penetrate the mulching. So you don't keep the thickness of mulching more than 10 micron. So you have to keep the mulching thickness below 10 micron, then spikes of the groundnut will penetrate the mulch and the crop growth will take place. Whereas in case of other mulching, it may be 20 or 25 to 30 micron thickness.
Thank you, sir. Just one question we have received is, sir, what is the scope of mushroom cultivation through protected method?
Protected method, it is a quite good, I would say. Our Abohar Center, they have specifically designed a poly house to maintain the right amount of the humidity and the temperature conducive for the mushroom growth. So if you are maintaining 60 to 70% moisture content, humidity, and throughout the year, what we have done inside, we dug the 1.5 meter trench, because if you go inside soil, after 1.5 or 2 meter, you are going to get more or less same temperature. So trench and then covering it the black color plastic. So you are providing better climate for mushroom cultivation and fix it with the foggers to maintain the humidity. So it is very much, we have done it and we can demonstrate it also if they require.
Thank you so much, sir. So thank you, Dr. Sanjay Misra ji. Hope you have got the answer, and others also, Dr. Shiv Kumar ji and others who has asked the question, probably sir has satisfactorily answered you. Now, just our HOD Saab has also posed a question. Sir, what is the future of robotics and artificial intelligence in near future under protected cultivation? As a lot of videos on YouTube is available on the subject.
Protected cult, there is a lot of scope there. It is in use in other country, in Netherlands, in other country it is in use, but not in India. Still, it is in a very nascent stage. So mechanization in protected agriculture is little bit lacking in our India. We are behind, but it is in use in other Western countries. So after some time or some years, it will come here once it is adopted on commercial scales.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Hope sir has got the things, the status of what is that in India. Probably it is expected that in the near future it will be maybe coming in the protected cultivation because these are the emerging things. Sir,
Because Professor K.N. Tiwari sir कुछ कहना चाह रहे हैं.
Sir, is,
Sir, please. Sir, welcome, sir. And
Yeah, I saw Dr. R.K. Singh is speaking. So I thought of, I have not seen him for a long time. So I thought of joining this session. I thought that some of my friends will be there. Let me see and their faces. So actually, Dr. R.K. Singh has given exhaustive information, and it's a very good information he has given. And now new technologies which are emerging, one is vertical farming. So vertical farming has a lot of scope. And for your information, I want to tell, before this vertical farming it has come, when I started working, the first most part that yes, availability of the seedlings. Let me tell you, availability of the seedlings of paddy, which is a very conventional crop, but timely availability, and when there is a huge rainfall at a time, you are not getting season to grow, seedlings availability becomes a problem. So we started doing, in the trays, and that was, layered in the same smaller greenhouse, and then 3 layers we made, and by putting the seeds of the paddy inside the poly house, and we found that the productivity from the same area, we were getting almost an early availability of the seedlings, protecting seedling from the heavy rainfall. All these things we were doing. I tell you about in early 90s we did. Now it has come in a more sophisticated way. This used to be smaller one. So there is a lot of scope. Somebody has asked about the layered condition. Yeah, it is very much, it exists, and with the shrinking land resources, we have to go vertically. There is no alternative. Just I have one suggestion, Dr. R.K. Singh, with our centers. Yes. Now we should find out the way, because the plastic mulching which we are talking of, not only when plastic mulching, even for the drip, drip pipeline also, how to collect this material, collection of the material after the season. And then, sometime, because the thin mulches, it remain in the soil. So, this is going to be a problem in the years to come. Yes. So this has to be taken up in something that how to collect these mulches after in the crop, the crop is already sown, so that it becomes a solution, not the problem at later stage. That should be taken care. And otherwise, it's a good presentation, quite a good information you have added. And if there are some questions, I can also add. I can help in that way.
Thank you so much, sir. Sorry, sir. Yeah, please, sir.
Yes, Vikas, continue.
Thank you so much, sir, for supplementing the talk. At the same time, appreciating the good deliberation delivered by Dr. R.K. Singh, sir. And sir, again, Rishikesh Ray, the question was pertaining to the layer, this thing. He has raised the hand, so probably he's interested to react. So I invite Rishikesh Ray to participate in the discussion.
Good afternoon, sir. सर हमें
हाँ,
ऑडियो
Yeah,
बोलिए
please.
बोलिए ऋषिकेश।
सर मेरा इंक्वायरी था कि हम लेयर कल्टीवेशन कर सकते हैं, लेयर कल्टीवेशन इन द सेंस ये आर्टिफिशियल लैंड्स अपन ऑन लैंड, इज इट पॉसिबल सर?
सर बताएं तिवारी सर।
एक लैंड के ऊपर दूसरा आर्टिफिशियल लैंड तैयार करके, क्योंकि हम जमीन तो बना नहीं सकते, प्रोडक्शन हम बना सकते हैं सर।
हाँ नहीं तो layered means what is that layer you are talking? I'm not able to get it. Actually, I thought of putting vertical farming. What is that you are telling?
नहीं
सर एक लैंड है, उसके ऊपर अगर आप एक रूफ तैयार करते हैं 10 फुट या फिर 12 फुट के ऊपर एक रूफ तैयार करते हैं, उसमें फिर हम एक आर्टिफिशियल लैंड तैयार करते हैं मिट्टी वगैरह डाल के, क्या हम दो ये कर सकते हैं?
देखिए जो vertical farming है यही है. What happened? You are talking of in a bigger area, but these are smaller area. The trade which I was telling that it is nothing but the layered. Now it depends on the what is the economics, what crop you are growing. Okay. Now if the crop is very high value crop and you are cultivating and that is a different thing, because land cost and the produce which you are getting, that is the technology which you want to bring, that has to be worked out. But it is possible. There is nothing like that, it's not possible. It is very much possible.
Sir, in case of I want to supplement why you are going for the layered soil only. In case of artificial soil, artificial media, we can put your slabs on this tray, and then after 2 feet, something like that. Or in hydroponics also, you can have 2-3 story and circulate your fertilized water and other things. So we don't have to restrict to make the 2-layer, 3-layer soil. 2-layer, 3-layer cultivation we can go for in form of hydroponics, in form of artificial root media.
Yes,
I
yes.
hope Rishikesh able to give you some insight.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So thank you, Rishikesh ji, for participating in the discussion. By now, almost all the questions have been answered. So, sir, I thank you all for answering the things. And if there is no more questions, should I, sir, close the session, sir? Sir,
मेरी आवाज आ रही है? Yes.
sir, yeah, now.
डॉक्टर आर के सिंह साहब, बहुत अच्छा प्रेजेंटेशन आपने दिया है, बहुत ही सावधानी से, बहुत ही आराम से, बड़े प्यार से लोगों को समझाया, बड़ा अच्छा लगा, बहुत ही अच्छे तरीके से आपका जो टोन था, जो पिच थी, बड़ी मेंटेन रही, और हालांकि हमारा सब्जेक्ट नहीं था लेकिन हमने बड़ा एंजॉय किया और बाकी चीज समझी। डॉक्टर साहब ठीक है, बड़ा अच्छा रहा, ऐसे सेमिनार होते रहने चाहिए। थैंक यू डॉक्टर साहब, धन्यवाद।
मैं अपने सीनियर तिवारी सर का, शर्मा सर का मैं तहे दिल से शुक्रगुजार हूं कि आप सर आए हैं। आपके सामने हम लोग कुछ भी नहीं, आपने अंगुली पकड़ के चलना सिखाया है और आज हम जो है सर आपके सामने बोल रहे हैं, मेरा सौभाग्य है, और आगे भी आशीर्वाद बनाए रखिए सर। जय शंकर सर।
Thank you, sir. फिर और हम so today's anyway, sir, we would like to listen our director acting Dr. S.K. Tyagi, sir. Sorry, I missed to invite you formally, sir, but yeah, again, yeah, sir, we would like to listen you over about this webinar, sir. Your comments, please.
जैसा कि मैंने आपको अभी बोला था, मेरी आवाज आ रही है आपको?
आ रही है।
Yes, sir.
मैंने अभी आपको बोला है कि मैंने अपने कमेंट दे चुका कि डॉक्टर साहब ने जो प्रेजेंटेशन दिया है वो बहुत ही आराम से, बहुत ही धैर्य से और बहुत सावधानी से दिया, जो कि बहुत ही अट्रैक्टिव था। तो मैंने जैसे आपको बताया कि जो बड़ा अच्छा टॉपिक इन्होंने कवर किया है और सभी ने इसको एंजॉय किया। हालांकि हम लोग का इतना ये जो एरिया है जिसमें डॉक्टर साहब ने कमेंट दिए वो हमारा एरिया नहीं था, लेकिन तब भी वी एंजॉयड अ लॉट and I give my comments that it was very attractive and very patient. बहुत अच्छी तरीके से डॉक्टर साहब ने अपनी बातों को रखा है। That is very nice. He was not excited during presentation and wide coverage of all the topics was taken care of. Thank you, Dr. Saab. This is my comment. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. And even we are getting good responses from the audience, sir. They are appreciating that it was really a good presentation, nice and useful. Appreciation, excellent, and their comments are. So on behalf of the institute and all that, we thank you all also for participants, also for participants. Now I formally for formal vote of thanks, I request Dr. Sandeep Davange scientist IISER CIFET Ludhiana to propose formal vote of thanks. Dr. Sandeep ji.
Good evening, everyone. As we are at the end of this third webinar in National Webinar Series on CIFET Post-Harvest Technology. First of all, I am thankful to the Director of our Institute, Dr. Nachiket Kotwalewale sir, for his vision and guidance for developing a National Webinar Series on CIFET technologies. I am thankful to the Head, Transfer of Technology Division for his valuable support for successful completion of this third webinar in this series. I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude towards today's expert, Dr. R.K. Singh sir, for delivering excellent talk on different aspects of protected cultivation, which are of great use in the near future for sustaining agricultural production. Detailed discussion on this topic will definitely be helpful for the participant and different stakeholders in their respective areas. We are all delighted to see large number of participants here. Thanks are also due to all the participants, which include different stalwarts in the field, scientists from different institutes, AICIB Center, KVKs, farmers, entrepreneurs, and students. Thanks a lot for patiently listening during this session and actively participating in the discussion as well. Last but not least, I am thankful to organizing committee and scientists of the institute for taking the effort to bring out this program for all our stakeholders. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. And in the last, some of the participants asked me what were the next. So I request you again.
Next program, please.
So I request you to kindly visit our website www.cifet.in. And in this series of technology webinar series, we have proposed to have the 9 webinars. This was the third, and the fourth will be delivered by our honorable Head of the Division, Dr. D.N. Yadav sir, on the groundnut milk related products and their technologies related talk will be there. So the details is there available in the website, and anyway we will try to send you the webinar flyers once it is finalized. So and we invite you to visit our website for more further updates. Thank you so much, and thank you one and all.
Thank you, sir. Good day.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Vikas.
Thanks.